little bit of soft music at the end. Okay, welcome back to Yoga Therapeutics again with myself, Amanda Wheeler. Today's focus is yoga for the hips and thighs. So we're going to work on loosening up tight hips and kind of balancing out the thighs, both the front and back a little bit, loosening up both sides of the thighs and creating some balance in there. Usually a lot of the poses will help to lengthen kind of the fatty tissue and smooth out a little bit of cellulite the more that you do it, and get a little slimmer in the thighs as well for a lot of these poses. You will want to grab 2 blocks, a strap, and a blanket if you have them. Otherwise, there's always whatever tools that you can find around your house that will work similar. And it is $5 per class, and you can pay via Venmo is the easiest, or we can do a credit card over the True Healing Massage credit reader. I can call you to do that. And I also set up a PayPal where you can purchase a class on the website, but that's a little bit different. So you'll notice a slight, I think it's $5.50 on there because PayPal runs a little bit differently through the website. Whenever you have all of your props, go ahead and take a comfortable seat. Your legs can be crossed. You can have your legs out in front of you, however you need. So just get yourself nice and comfortable. We'll start out with breath work. Relax your arms down. Palms can be up or down. Relax your shoulders and gently close your eyes. We did a lot of great neck stretching and mobilization last week. So if you need to do any of that at the beginning, go ahead and do that now. And just smooth out your breathing. We're going to do what's known as ocean breath or Ujjayi breath today. It's been a little while since we've done that one. If you'd like to just focus on your regular breath, that works just fine. Try to make your exhales a little longer if you are doing that. If you'd like to join me in our ocean breath, you're going to breathe in and out of your nose. Your lips will gently press together, and then you'll hollow out the back of your throat. So you'll lift that top palate of your mouth, drop the bottom palate almost as if you're dropping your jaw a little. Nice deep breaths. Sounds similar to ocean waves. Some people like to think of it as a Darth Vader sound. Let's go ahead and do a few rounds of that. Focus on the breath and the sound. Do a couple more rounds. Finish off with your last exhale and then smooth out your breath back to its natural rhythm. Gently begin to open your eyes again when you're ready. Okay, we are going to begin today in bound angle. Sorry, I'm just going to pop open the chat here. There we go. Bound angle, if you know it, go ahead and go right into it. Bring the soles of your feet together. You can hold your toes, your ankles, or your shins. Since we're working more on the legs today, don't worry as much about the back unless you have back problems. Remember, you never want to be rounding your back if you have those bulging discs or any back pain. So make sure you're sitting up tall. Otherwise, if you don't have any back issues, feel free to just relax your back. Try to release your hips. Release the knees farther open, kind of open your feet like a book. And if you can, engage your outer glute muscles as if they're pressing in towards each other. And that activation of those outer glute muscles, the external hip rotators, is really going to release the knees open a little more. You can bow your head down, however's comfortable. One more breath. And then we'll come upright, come into an easy seated pose. So however is comfortable for you, kind of Indian style. Sit up tall for this one. And we're gonna fold forward. So bring your hands out in front of you. Try to keep your spine nice and long. So our natural curve of that lower back is in. Try to keep that nice and long, and then you're gonna crawl forward wherever's comfortable. Try to keep your hips grounded as best as you can. You're gonna start rounding in the back, kind of right here in your thoracic spine. That's just fine. So I want you to fold there for a few breaths. Adjust yourself if you need to. Relax your hips. After your next breath, go ahead and slowly come on up. Straighten out your legs. We'll go into a half-seated fish first. I'm going to mirror you as usual. Bend your right knee, cross your right leg over, get your foot flat. Sit up nice and tall, get a nice tall spine. Hug your left arm around the front. Reach that right arm up and around. Nice big circle, release your right hand back behind you. Nice gentle twist. For this one, since we're working more on the hips, I want you to hug the knee in towards you a little more, even coming across the body. Feel free to lift that hip up a little if you want. Get you a little bit of that neck stretch in like we worked on last week. Then come back to the center. Straighten out that right leg. Bend your left knee, cross it over. Sit up nice and tall. Hug your knee in with this right arm. Hug it in. Reach up and around with the left arm. Nice big circles. You can open up the shoulder, get a little bit of that neck stretch. Looking back behind you. But feel free to do whatever you feel like is stretching out your left hip. We're all so different. So if you need to hug it in more, if you need to lift that hip up a little, go ahead. Come back to the center. Straighten out your legs. We're going to do a full seated fish this time. We haven't done this typically in the Thursday night class, but I'll have you bring your left foot back to your right hip. Then cross the right leg over. So same thing, but we're keeping this left leg bent back this time. If it's too much for you, you can go ahead and go back to our half fish. Sit up tall. You might already feel a little bit deeper stretch. Again, we're going to hug in with your left arm. Hug your left arm around the front. Bring your right hand back behind. Couple of breaths here. Take some movements wherever you think you're getting a nice stretch. Good. Come back to the center. Straighten out both of your legs. This time your right foot's going to come back underneath your left hip. Cross your left foot over. Sit up tall. Hug this front knee in with your right arm as best as you can and bring the left hand behind you. Nice gentle stretch. Remember, our twist comes from the thoracic spine, so not in your lower back. You're twisting through that middle and upper back. Come back to the center when you're ready. Straighten out your legs. Come onto your hands and knees. Child's pose. Bring the tops of your feet down, bring your big toes to touch, separate your knees, and go ahead and release back into your child's pose. If you would like to have a block underneath your forehead like we practiced last week, go ahead. Smooth out your breath. See if you can get a little tip up and back of that tailbone as you come on down. Get your sit bones a little closer to your heels for one more breath. And then come all the way up onto your hands and knees. On your hands and knees, I want you to cross your right leg over your left. We're going into cow face. I'll turn here so you can kind of see. Cross that right leg over your left. Get a nice tight cross. Couple options. You can sit on that back heel if you are comfortable with that. You might have to roll this right thigh out of your way, or the right calf out of your way. Sit on the back heel or separate your feet and sit on the floor. We're just focusing on the hips, so we're not going to add the arms in here. If you're seated on the floor between your heels, you might already start to feel it. Knees should be stacking approximately on top of another. And then we're going to try to fold forward a little bit. See if you can get that tip back of your tailbone as you crawl forward. And just go to your comfort level. If you're sitting on the floor, you're going to feel this a lot deeper. If you're on your heel, you'll still get a little bit in there because your hips are probably tight. Couple more breaths. If you notice your right hip is trying to turn forward, try to pull that right hip back a little. Good. Come all the way up. Come out however you need to come out of that one, and back onto your hands and knees. Next, we're going to cross the left knee over the right. Nice tight cross. You get that thigh all the way down to the other thigh. Again, you can bring your feet apart and sit between your heels, or you can take a seat on that back heel. You can even sit on a block if you really need some more space. Just grab a block, set it between your feet, and sit there. Once you've got your knees stacking, again, you can be on a block. Some of us have really tight hips. I had to be on a block when I first started this pose. You can go ahead and crawl forward. Now your top hip, so your left hip, is going to try to turn forward. So it's going to try to turn you this way. See if you can pull it back and then hold. Few breaths there. Remember, we always want to stay for at least 5 breaths in a pose to get the muscles to really remember and to move in the pose. If you want to go 10 breaths, then that will just maximize your benefit. When you're ready, slowly come out of that one again. Get back onto your hands and knees. Come up towards the top of your mat if you're not. Separate your hands so they're shoulder distance. We're going into down dog. Go into it if you know it. Step your feet back. We're going to go from a plank because I like to do the longer down dog so we can get more length to the spine. So many people have back issues. So stay in your plank. You're going to press up and back. Get a little tilt up of your tailbone. So you might have to bend your knees. Then pull your belly back. Relax your shoulders, but roll them onto your back. Relax your head. Maybe start to press your heels down towards the floor now. We're working on the legs, so there's always different modifications of down dog, as you've seen in my classes. This one we're working on the legs, so go ahead and press those heels towards the floor. They do not have to touch. Tilt your tailbone a little bit. Now take your stance wider with your feet, almost as wide as your mat. Now bend your knees, tilt your butt up more, and get your chest to relax. Now I want you to slowly straighten the legs, and just a little bit at a time, and pause, and then a little more, and pause. A couple more times, just slowly straightening. You might really feel that stretch in the legs. As soon as you get them as straight as you comfortably can, you can pause there for a couple of breaths. And then bring your feet back in towards each other. Good, in that down dog, you can shift forward and make your way up to mountain. Or if you feel comfortable walking all the way up, we're gonna go up to mountain pose. Inhale, arms all the way up. Stretch up, open up your chest, and then exhale, palms down to heart center. Tree pose. You can stay wherever you're comfortable, excuse me, on your mat. Bring your feet together. I'm going to try to keep your feet more towards the center. So feet together, hands to your hips. If you know tree, go ahead. We're going to go on the right side first. You can start to bring that right big toe down, turn your leg open, really engage this left glute. Then lift your foot up. So heel up, toes down, maybe just below the knee, and you stop here. That's fine. Maybe you can go a little higher. Press this right foot into your thigh or the bottom of your leg, wherever you're at. Engage your glutes. Roll your shoulders back in a nice tall posture and really create some strength and stability through that bottom foot. Press down through the inside of your foot. Maybe bring your palms together. Maybe your arms come up. So just stay wherever you want to go and pause there for a few breaths. I want you to think about those glutes engaging. We're working on your hips, so really engage, especially this right glute. That's what's opening your hip. Good, stabilize there, a couple breaths. Nice and slow when you're ready, release. Feet together, other side. Left big toe down, turn open. As soon as you start to turn open here, engage your glutes, stabilize your tailbone. Bring your foot up wherever you're comfortable. And again, especially since you're at home, it's so much nicer sometimes to just be on your own and you don't have to feel that competition around you, because yoga is not about competition. We are all doing whatever we can to balance better. Take your time. Palms together. Feel free to do whatever kind of tree you want to do. Going here into your cactus arms is great for opening up those shoulders. I know some of you have some super tight shoulders like I used to have. Couple breaths. Good. Release down when you're ready. Always feel free to walk out your knees if they get stiff. Eagle pose. Come into a huddle. Bend your knees. Get your hands down onto your knees. Lift your right leg up and find your balance as you cross that right leg over. Now you can hook the right foot around the back of your left leg if you can, or just stay here. Try to keep it tightly crossed. We're gonna sit down just like a chair pose. So I don't want your knee coming forward. I want you to sit back, like sitting your butt back and down. Lose some balance there. So take your time, find your balance. Mine is off today. You don't have to add the arms in today if you don't want, because we're really focusing on getting the hips straight ahead, not turning, straight ahead. If you'd like to add your arms, you're gonna bring that left arm over top. Give yourself a little hug or wrap the forearms. Couple more breaths. Remember, working on the hips, so kind of tilt your butt back just a little. Pull the belly back and sit back and down. Good. Slowly release. Back into your mountain and then come down into a huddle. Other side. Cross your left leg over. Nice tight cross as best as you can. And you really got to hug in those thighs to get your hips nice and straight instead of turning. Sit back and down. So it helps to get a little tilt back of your tailbone. Support that nice little arch of the lower back. Sit back like a chair pose. Sit up straight in your back. Adding in the arms. Right arm is over. Only if you want. Again, our focus is hips. Go ahead and sit back and down a couple breaths. Good. Slowly release whenever you're ready. This one is fun. I like this one. Elevated pigeon prep. Come into your huddle again. This time, you're going to lift your right leg up and open into a figure 4. And cross that right ankle just above the left knee. You're going to slowly use your hands to open up that hip. Again, gentle tilt back of your tailbone. Pull your belly back. If you can, you're going to come down with your forearms onto your lower leg. Now, if you need blocks or something here, grab some blocks because you want to get that stretch of your hips. So use your blocks under your hands. If you can go deeper, you're going to go all the way down, getting your hands to the floor, but we're staying here in this prep. So your triceps come to the front of that right shin and just relax your head. Couple breaths. Again, we're trying to open up that right side. When you're ready, slowly come on up, back to your mountain, and back to a huddle. Other side. Lift your left leg. Rotate it open. So again, I'm mirroring you. Gently use your hands here, and you can stay here. So we're going to gentle tilt back of your tailbone. We don't want any rounding in that lower back. Take your time, maybe coming lower. It's good to keep this foot flexed too, so nice and flat. Maybe bringing your hands down. Really open this left side. So trying to rotate that hip open. Pause there for a couple more breaths. Good, nice and slow. You're gonna come back up and release down. Walk it out if you need to. Go back up to the top of your mat if you're not there already. Separate your feet hip distance. Inhale, lift up. Nice big stretch. Exhale, palms together, forward fold. Bend your knees if you need to. Remember, we want that belly to your thighs. Relax your head. We're gonna come up halfway, but I want you to slowly slide up your legs to right below your knees. Tilt your butt back and slowly straighten those legs. And then lift your chest more and pull the belly back. Upside down L. You get that gentle tip back. And on your next exhale, forward fold again. Then step back into plank. Press back into down dog. Always feel free to do puppy pose instead of down dog if you need. Right leg up and back. Good. See if you can flex your foot since we're working on the thighs and the hips today. Step your right foot all the way up between your hands. Feel free to come down to your knees and get that right foot up there. Right knee over ankle. Use your blocks if you need to. Low lunge. Pull your feet towards each other. Lift your chest. Engage that right glute quite a bit. Actually, it's your left. Engage your left glute quite a bit. Good. Pull those feet towards each other. Straighten out your back. Going into forearm lunge here. You can grab your block if you need it, whatever setting you need. Bring your left forearm down and your right forearm right inside of your right leg. If you don't need that block, just come on down to the mat. Hug your right knee in. Lift your chest. That's really going to help. You can lower that back knee if you need to. Couple more breaths. Come back onto your hands. Now lower your left knee down. Come all the way up, hands to your hips, monkey lunge. Release your hips down and forward. You can bring the top of your back foot down if you'd like. Roll your shoulders back. We're just working on the hips, so you can keep your hands on your hips, or you can lift them up if you'd really like to. Release down a little deeper. Now bring your left hand down to the mat, slightly off your mat. Twisted monkey, turn your right foot so it points up to your right corner. Lift your chest, then turn open. Roll the right shoulder back. Maybe lift your right arm up. You can stay any of these stages. If you want to keep going, bend your left knee and still release that left hip down. You can even stay here. Next step, you would reach your hand out to the outside of your back foot. Gently pull in. And I say gently, so take your time. Breathe. Slowly release. Come back into your lunge. Grab your blocks. Most of you are going to want these for kneeling stage. Scoot your left knee back a little further. Flex your front foot. Press through your heels. Straighten out that front leg. So we want to be nice and tall here. Front leg should be basically straight. Then get your hips tilting back. So tip your butt back a little and hinge forward. Your blocks are going to make sure that your back is staying straight. If you can go down a setting, go ahead. We'll pause here for a couple of breaths. So remember, back is straight. We're not going to go here. Good. Take a few breaths. Good. One more. Slowly come on up. Wherever you're at, curl the back toes under. You can slide your blocks to the side. Come back to it, tabletop. Go ahead and shift your hips side to side. Go into down dog when you're ready. So you can go from your plank back into down dog. Lift your left leg up once you're there. Flex your foot so we can get some length to the back of the legs. Step your left foot all the way forward into a lunge. Low lunge. Engage your right glute this time. Pull your feet towards each other. Lift your chest. Smooth out your breath. Really hug the thighs in towards the center. Pull the feet in. And go to forearm lunge once you're ready. Again, you can grab the block right inside of your foot if you need to. Bring your right forearm down and your left forearm right inside of your left leg. Hug your left knee in. Important part is to lift your chest. and really lengthen. Couple more deep breaths there. Always feel free to bring your back knee down if you need to. Good. Come back up. Release your back knee down. Come all the way up, hands to your hips, monkey lunge. Release your hips down and forward. Roll your shoulders back. See if you can relax those hips down a little bit deeper. One more breath there. When you're ready, bring the right hand down, just slightly off your mat. Release your hips down. Lift your chest, turn over. Roll that left shoulder back, left arm up. Keep the shoulder relaxed. Bend your right knee if you'd like. Don't forget to turn that left foot towards the left corner. I forgot to mention that. So turn your left foot towards your left corner if you haven't. Reach your left hand back to the outside of your back foot. Gently pull in. So my right side's a lot tighter, so I can't pull in very far. So just be mindful of which side and where your body's at. Couple more deep breaths, relax in. Good, slowly release. Spin that front foot forward again. Grab your blocks. And we're coming back to our kneeling sage. Scoot your back knee back a little further if you can. Flex your front foot and you push through your heel, lift your toes up. Tilt your tailbone back so you can see a difference. If I've got it tucked under, we've got some bulging going in the lower back. Tilt back, lengthen. Stay here if you need to. This might be enough. You might be able to come down a setting once you stay there for a few breaths. When you fold, we're getting the lower belly down first. Got kind of a loose shirt on, but you don't want a big space in here. Breathe, couple more breaths. You can do this longer at home if you've got really tight hamstrings. All right, go ahead and slide your blocks to the side. Come back to your tabletop. Feel free to sway your hips side to side. And we're gonna go back to mountain. I like to go from down dog, but if you need to just come up to mountain, that's definitely fine. So you can go to your down dog and walk it forward. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, palms down. All right, step to the middle of your mat. Spin and face the long edge of your mat. We're going with my purple mat here. Take a nice wide stance. I'm gonna tuck this in a little bit so you can see. We're going into a little bit different of a pose. So nice wide stance, but then I'm gonna have you shorten it and turn your feet open. We're going into a horse stance or goddess squat. It's a nice deep squat. Feet are turned open about 45 degrees. Nice deep squat. Now I want you to do the eagle arms as long as you can. Arms out to the sides. Bring your right arm over your left. Give yourself a hug and you can stay here or wrap the forearms. Now we're gonna hinge forward halfway, almost as if we're in a half forward fold. I want you to tilt back and still squat and fold. Once you're there, tilt back a little bit, keep your squat, but lift your chest. You're probably gonna feel some intense stuff going on in the thighs. Try to tip back with the tailbone, lift your chest. You might feel a little bit of shaking in the thighs. Don't let those knees fall in. Come all the way up. We're gonna do it again so we can get the other arm. So before we had the right arm, if you need to come up for a break, that's fine. We're gonna do the left arm over top this time. So once you're in your squat, left arm over top, wrap the arms. And again, we're gonna fold. So sit into your squat, tip your butt back a little, and don't let the knees fall in. We're gonna keep the knees out. Once you've half forward fold, lift your chest. I want you to flatten out your back as best as you can. Couple breaths there. Good. One more breath. And then up. All right, release your arms out. Feel free to shake out the arms, crisscross if you need to. And then come into your wide stance. Turn your toes straight ahead to the long edge of your mat. We're gonna go into warrior two, arms up to your sides. Actually, before you go, grab your blocks and place them behind each heel. If you've got one block, we're going to the right first. Arms up, spin your right foot. Again, I'm mirroring you. Right foot down towards the end of your mat, bend your right knee into warrior two. Working on the hips a lot today, so remember, tuck your tailbone under for this one and pull that lower belly up. Then sit into your sit bones a little deeper. Roll that left shoulder back. Good. Extended side angle is next. We're gonna reach forward, bring your hand down to the block, right outside your ankle. Top arm up. Bend that front knee. Reach your left arm up, point your palm towards your head, and really reach up and across. Don't let your right knee fall in. Keep it bent. Good. Pause there for a couple of breaths. Good, nice and slow. Come all the way up. Straighten out your front leg. We have one more in that similar position on this same side before we go into triangle. Do this one if you can. So we're gonna come into warrior two. We're gonna reach down on the inside of the leg and wrap around into a bound side angle. So the right arm comes underneath your right leg and wrap around. This hand comes back around. And you interlace your hands, or you just have your hand at the small of your lower back and gently lift your chest. When you're ready, slowly unwrap, come all the way up. Again, that's a little bit of a challenge, so you don't have to do that one. And then we're going into triangle. Hinge your hips back, reach up and forward, and bring your right hand down to the block, and left arm all the way up. Press down through your feet. Press down through the inside of your front foot especially. Some of you probably know where we're going from here. We're gonna go into half moon. It's great for the hips. Bring your left hand to your hip, grab your block, step forward halfway. Slide your block forward and out to your right side a little. Slowly lift up, flex your back foot, and really engage your left glute. Turn open, so you're trying to turn the left hip over the right. Lift your chest and gently turn your chest open. If you get that left shoulder back, lift your arm up. Let your neck relax, lengthen the back of your neck. Keep that bottom ankle steady. When you're ready, I want you to slowly bend that bottom knee. Try to come into your wide stance. Come all the way up. Spin your feet to the long edge of your mat. All right, big toes pointing the long edge of your mat. Bring your arms out to the side. Spin your left foot towards the end of your mat. Come into warrior two. Press your feet down. Keep your thighs nice and strong. Tuck your tailbone a little and pull the lower belly up. We just don't want to lose our core work in there. Good. Get that right shoulder back. Look past your left hand. Extended side angle. Reach up and forward. Bring your hand down to the block. Top arm all the way up. So right arm up. Point your palm towards your head and reach across. Again, keep your front thigh nice and strong. Don't let that front knee fall in or out. Nice and stable. Lift your chest. Since we're working more on the legs, feel free to sit deeper if you want. Now we're going into that bound side angle if you want, or you can just come up. So in the bound side angle, you bring your left arm on the inside, come underneath your thigh, and then right hand comes back behind. Interlace your hands, gently lift your chest. Couple breaths. When you're ready, slowly come on out. Arms out to the sides. Triangle, hinge your hips back, reach forward and up. Bring your hand down to the block. Right arm all the way up. Press down through your feet. Engage your right glute a lot. Relax your neck. Always feel free to go down a setting. Remember, the blocks are here so that we can get a deeper stretch without hurting our back for the most part. When you're ready, right hand to your hip, come into half moon. You can use the block, or if you're experienced with this one, you don't have to use it. Step that right foot forward, slide your block up and out to the left. Balance on your left foot. Now flex your back foot as you come up. Engage your right glute a lot. Use that block Press down, lift your chest. Roll your right shoulder back, and maybe lift that top arm up. Relax your head, lengthen the back of your neck, and breathe. Good. When you're ready, try to bend nice and slow. Come all the way back. Turn your feet in. Big toes pointed at the long edge of your mat. Wide leg forward fold. Bend your knees a little. Tip your butt back. If you know it, go right into it. I'm going to show you here. Remember, we want the little tip back. Forward fold. Get your blocks there if you need them, or fingertips down. You want to stay here. Make sure your back is nice and straight. As long as your back is gently tipping back, you're getting a deeper stretch into the legs. Some people think if your legs are straight and you're just here, that this is deeper. But as soon as you actually get your spine in alignment, tip back. I have to bend my knees because it's a lot deeper. So take your time. If you know you can fold a little deeper, go ahead. Remember that lower back should not pop up. Couple more breaths there at least. Go as far as you are comfortable. Use your blocks if you need. Relax your head. Whenever you're ready, you want to come back out nice and safe, walking out. Bend your knees, shift that weight into your heels as you come up, hands to your hips. And then go ahead and step your feet together. Walk your legs out a little bit if you need to. Grab your blocks with you as you come back up to the front of your mat. One of my favorite poses for the hips here. It helped me a lot with my tight hips. We're going into intense side stretch, so your blocks are going to be about shoulder distance apart at the top of your mat. Have your right foot forward and step your left foot back and spin it open just a little bit. It's helpful to start out in a warrior one stance if you can, with that front knee bent over your heel and pressing your back heel towards the floor. Then straighten out your front leg. Make sure your hip bones are pointing straight ahead. Roll your shoulders back. And we're going to hinge forward. Remember, when a little tip back, tilt back in the tailbone. Hinge forward. Keep your back as straight as you can. Bring your blocks right underneath your shoulders. You probably noticed your left hip's trying to turn open. So turn your left hip forward. Press down to the inside of your right foot and your right big toe. Lift your chest. Nice straight back. If you can go further, go ahead. Keep going. You can bend the front knee a little too if you need to. Holding forward. Again, gently rotate left hip forward, right hip back. Stay where you need to stay. We're going to pause here for another breath. More if you want. And come into revolve triangle. Couple options. It's going to be more doable if you bring the block in your left hand and just slide it over more towards the center of your mat. If you want a little more challenge, you're going to bring this left hand all the way over to the block on the right. But really keep stable on the inside of your right foot. Lift your chest, and then turn that left hip forward, pull the right hip back, and slowly turn through your upper body. Find your balance, so you're going to feel a little bit of balancing going on there. If you get that right shoulder rolled all the way back, then you can lift your right arm up. I always use blocks in this one because there's no point in straining yourself if you have tight hips. When you're ready, you're going to slowly come on back to your blocks. Put some weight into your feet. Lift your chest, come all the way up. Let's switch sides. Step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back and spin it open just a little. You can stay here in the warrior one stance to get yourself settled if you need. Straighten out your left leg. Roll your shoulders back. Now you might have to bend the left knee a little. Tilt your butt back slightly. Lift your chest. Come down to your blocks. Again, turn your right hip forward. Straighten out the front leg as best as you can and straighten your back. So you'll notice a big difference if you're letting that tailbone tuck under here or if you're actually tipping it back and straightening out right in the attachments. Feel free to go deeper if you want. Remember, right hip's turning forward, left hip is pulling back. Relax your head. When you're ready to go revolve triangle, remember your two options. It's good to straighten out your back first. More doable option is taking the block in your right hand and just sliding it over more towards the center. More difficult, bring that right hand all the way across to the left block. Either way, you're going to straighten out your back. Bring your left hand to your hip. Turn the right hip slightly forward. Gently turn. It gets pretty deep, so take your time. You might be able to lift your arm up. A lot of people will not because you won't get that shoulder moved back. So take your time. When you're ready, slowly coming back. Get both hands to your blocks. Bend the front knee a little. Lift your chest. Come all the way up. You see, we don't want to put load on that back. Step forward. Then slide your blocks to the sides if you don't need them for forward fold. Separate your feet hip distance. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Relax your head and neck. Come up halfway. Try to straighten out the legs. Come all the way up. Pull that belly up as well. Get a little tip back of the tailbone. Be mindful of your hamstrings if they're tight. Exhale, forward fold again. We're going to step back into plank, or you can float back into plank if you can do that comfortably. And press back into down dog. Tip your butt back. We're going to do a nice wide stance again with the feet. Separate your feet wide apart. Bend your knees. Tilt your butt up. And let the chest fall down towards the floor more. Roll your shoulders up onto your back. Now slowly, just straighten a little bit. Pause. Relax the head. Straighten a little bit more and pause. Still keeping that tip up of the tailbone if you can. Straighten a little bit more in the legs and pause. Maybe start to bring your heels down to the floor as well. When you're ready, bring your feet back in towards each other. Going into pigeon. If you need to come to your knees, go ahead. If not, lift your right leg up. Pull your right knee all the way behind your right wrist. Coming down right behind your right wrist on the floor. Crawl your right heel open underneath your left hip. Back knee down, back foot down onto the floor. Lift your chest. We're going to stay upright because we can focus a little bit more on the hips here. Use the weight to relax down into your hips. See if you can get that left hip bone to slowly release. Lift your chest. You can even have blocks under your hands if you really want to. Gently pull your right hip back. If you want to add the quad stretch, we're going to get a little deeper. Bend the left knee. And you can even just stay here and try to release those hips down. Still gently pulling that right hip back. If you want to join me in the pigeon quad stretch, you can have your right hand on your thigh or fingertips on the floor. Reach your left hand back to the inside of your foot, and you're going to pull your foot towards you, get your hand to the top of your foot, and then spin fingertips towards you on top of your toes. Gently turn your chest forward, smooth out your breath. You can also just fold forward in pigeon if that's more comfortable for you. Nice and slow release. Curl your back toes under. We're going to switch sides. If you need to come to your knees, go ahead. Or if you can go all the way back into down dog, lifting that right leg up and then releasing the right leg down. Left side when you're ready. Left leg up and pull the left knee all the way up behind your left wrist. Crawl your left heel open to the right hip. Again, back knee down, top of your back foot down. Come up onto your fingertips if you can. Nice tall posture. Relax the hips down. The key is to get this left glute to release towards the floor a little more and the right hip bone, hip flexor area to release. Gently pull the left hip back a little. It's almost as if you're turning the hips again like we did an intense side stretch. So you can stay there or bend your right knee. You can place your left hand on your thigh. Reach your right hand all the way back. We're going to pigeon quad stretch. Spin your palm to the top of your foot, fingers pointing towards you. bending your elbow up. Gently try to open your chest. Couple breaths here. Relax the hips if you can. And lengthen your neck. When you're ready, slowly release. Bring your hands down again. Curl your back toes under. Press back into down dog. Extend the left leg up and back if you can, or just to your knees. Release your left foot down. When you're ready, make your way up to mountain. You can walk all the way forward. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, palms down. We're almost done. A great hip opener we're going back to is our elevated pigeon prep. Now we are going to go into a very challenging arm balance from there if you would like to, because it's a really deep hip opener. Otherwise, you're going to stay in your elevated pigeon prep. I'm going to have to, well, I can probably do it from here. Bring your feet together, come into a huddle, and you're going to lift your right leg up and come into that figure four, just like before. So if you're doing this one, you can stay here. Most of you are going to want to work on this and just work on getting deeper. If you decide to join me in the flying pigeon, which maybe a couple of you might hear with me, you're going to bring your hands down, shoulder distance apart. Get your triceps to connect. You're going to connect that right tricep. No, you're going to connect your left tricep all the way back in front of your ankle. Get your hands nice and flat. Now, everyone's a little different. I kind of hop back a little bit to the middle. I'm going to crawl forward, bend my elbows, keep them in, really hook your foot around your tricep, lean in, slowly get the balance on your hands, and then maybe straighten out the back leg. And then slowly come on out, however you need to. And then everyone's going to meet back up in mountain. Come into your huddle. Lift your left leg up and open your hip into that figure four. So you can stay here, come down to your forearms, or I'll show you from this angle. So now you've got your left leg up. Hook your triceps, flex that left foot and hook it. I'm going to hop back a slight nut. Hopefully I don't kick the wall this way. Spread your fingers nice and wide. I'm going to lean in, hug my elbows in. Really hook my ankle around my tricep. Step back a little bit with that back foot and lean forward. Grip with the fingertips, lean in, elbows are still in, slowly lifting my foot back. And then release. And with you all want to come back up to your mountain. You can shake your arms out. You can walk your knees out if you want. And then we're going to take a seat. Grab your blanket. You can keep it folded pretty thick if you want. If you know you have tight hips, you'll want a thick fold. Sit on the edge of the blanket. And we're coming into fire logs. Bring your right leg down. I'm mirroring you again. Your right knee is going to be slightly out at a little bit of an angle. Flex your right foot and you want the shin almost parallel. Then you're going to lift this leg up. Try to get your ankle above your knee. Now, if you can't, you can place a block here, whatever setting you want it at, and your ankle's going to rest in front of your knee on the block. So if you can get that ankle up, both feet are flexed. We're attempting to stack the ankles and the knees. The reason I've got the blanket here for you is I want you to kind of tip your butt back and lean forward so that the blanket's supporting the fleshy part of your butt, but your tailbone is coming down towards the floor. Now you can keep your hands kind of to the sides and lift up and lean. Remember to have that little bit tip back of your tailbone. You can bring your hands out in front of you if you have that capacity. My hips are pretty tight, especially I've got this is my tighter side. So I'm not going to be able to fold very far, and you can see a space here. Some people can get that knee all the way down. So just take your time. Go wherever you're comfortable. Some people like to grab a block at the high setting and rest their head. I want you to take a few good breaths here. Try to release that top hip. Similar to how we did in bound ankle, you want to think about the hips releasing open. When you're ready, slowly come on up. Switch sides. You might feel a little stiff coming out of that one if you've got some really tight hips. Feet out in front of you again, sitting on your blanket. Now you're going to bring your left leg down first. Again, it's at a slight angle, but the shin is almost parallel. I say almost because my heel is slightly closer to me. Everyone's hips are a little different. Lift your right leg up, flex your foot, and rest your ankle over your knee. Again, blocks can be your helper. You can have the ankle in front of your knee on your block. You can even have a block here between the other ankle and knee. Press your hands down, lift up. Gently tip your tailbone back. If you need to adjust that blanket, go ahead. So the blanket supports the fleshy part of your glutes, and you can let your tailbone tip back a little. Come forward wherever you're comfortable. So again, just go to your level. If you like that block there, grab it. It's a deep hip opener, so stay there for a few breaths if you can. Whenever you feel ready, come on up. Slowly bring your feet back out in front of you. You can slide off of your blanket if you want, or some of you might want that blanket still. I'm gonna fix mine. Some of you might want that blanket for our next pose, which is seated angle. You're gonna sit onto the blanket if you know you have really tight hamstrings or hips. Separate your legs into a wide angle. Same thing, if you've got that blanket, it really helps because you can get the fleshy part of your glutes on there, and then you can almost slide forward a little. And you're tipping the butt back just slightly. Now flex your feet because we're activating the legs here. Bend your knees if you need to. And we're gonna fold forward just slightly. Again, if you know you're flexible and you can go further, make sure you just got that little tip back of the tailbone and that lower back isn't rounding. And you can begin to fold forward. Now stop wherever you need to. Bend the knees more if you need to. If you know you can go all the way down, your forehead will come down and you can grab onto the big toes. But remember, if it feels like it's too much, just come up a little more. A couple more breaths there. When you feel ready, come all the way up. Bring your legs back together. Slide your blanket off to the side now. Do some windshield wipers. So nice wide, feet wide apart. Gentle movements, tipping the knee in, back and forth. And then make your way onto your back. Have your strap near you. You can unroll it if you need to. We're gonna start out bridge pose. Separate your feet hip distance apart once you're on your back. Get your fingertips like almost touch your heels. Roll your shoulders underneath. Press your feet down, lift up. Interlace your hands if you can. Get those shoulders really down onto the mat so you can open your chest. Squeeze your thighs in a lot. Use your glutes and press up. Now, if you have lower back pain, try to move your knees a little closer towards your toes. It'll take some weight out of there. Lift your chest and bring your chin out of your chest for a couple more breaths. When you're ready, slowly release your hands. Come all the way down onto your back. Grab your strap. Bend your right knee in, lift your right foot up, and bring the strap to the ball of your right foot. Straighten out that right leg. Flare your toes and relax your arms and shoulders down. Really press the ball of your right foot up for a few breaths. Straighten out the left leg if you can and flex that left foot. After you flared your toes for a little bit, now release that, press up, and press the heel up a little more. Now you might have to bend your knee. So now we're relaxing the ball of the foot a little more and pressing the heel up. Now bring the sides of the strap together. Hold it in your left hand. So you can bring your left hand up on the strap. Bring your right arm straight out in a T. Bend your left knee in a little, or sorry, your right knee. Bend your right knee in a little. You're gonna keep your foot flexed and ankle nice and straight as you cross that leg over your body. I'm resting my left elbow down so I can help support my leg. Now, if you bring the foot up higher toward your head, you'll get a little different stretch. We just don't want the leg all the way down here because then you'll lose some of that. Slowly come up. We're going to switch sides. So if you want to easily switch, you can just bring your left foot up in the strap and place your right foot down. Press the ball of your foot up into the strap of that left foot and flare your toes. Straighten out your right leg and flex your right foot. So we're going to press up through the ball of the foot first. Couple breaths. Then relax that press up and release the ball of the foot and press your heel up. Bring the sides of the strap together in your right hand. Lower your left arm to the floor. Take your time. You're going to bend that left knee in a little and cross over to the opposite side. Keep your ankle straight. Keep your foot flexed. When you're ready, slowly come on up. Release the strap. Set both feet down onto the floor. You can do some windshield wipers if you need to. And then hug your knees into your chest. You can rock side to side, forward and back. Just do whatever movements you need to do before you are done. When you're ready, go ahead and rest your feet down. Separate your feet and rest your knees into one another. Begin to bring your arms down to your sides. Roll the shoulders open as much as you can. Palms up. Close your eyes when you're ready. You can leave your knees bent or straighten your legs. And just stay here as long as you need to. We don't stay as long during class, just for the purpose of getting through the poses so you can learn them. But 5 to 10 minutes is a good amount of time to stay here. I'll play a little soft music for you while you focus in on your breath again. Really focus on the deep breathing, maybe letting your exhales be a lot longer if you can. Sorry, that was loud. Slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, you can bend your knees and slowly make your way onto your side. Maybe resting your head on that bottom bicep. can take your time there. And then start to press your hands down and bring yourself back up to your seated position. Coming to your comfortable seat. Eyes closed or soft gaze. Relax your shoulders, smooth out your breath. And we'll end with 3 deep breaths together. Go ahead and exhale. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Inhale. Exhale as if you're fogging up a mirror. Another deep inhale. On your exhale, release all the air as loud as you want. And smooth out your breath. Take your time opening your eyes. Take your time getting up. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns anytime. And I will have the recording available. And I'm also making the videos available longer if you would like to purchase an extended length of any of the classes that I've done. So thanks, guys. Have a great night.